Ahoy, and jolly Friday, me mates and fellow Pastafarians. Gather round, ye swashbucklers of wisdom, ye buccaneers of deep thought, for today be a most sacred day amongst Pastafarians, philosophical day, a day to ponder and to reflect, a day to let the noodly tendrils, the flying spaghetti monster, to stir the sauce of the mind. Let us consider the parable of the thoughtful buccaneer. There once was a pirate named Barnaby the Brooding, who sailed the seven seas not just in search of treasure, but in search of meaning. He questioned the tides, the stars, and even the kraken. One fateful night, as he stood on the deck of his mighty ship, the contemplative Cutlass, the storm rolled in, shaking the vessel and challenging his resolve. Barnaby called out, "Why must we battle this sea when it brings us both fish and fury?" A great bolt of lightning struck the mast, and in that moment the flying spaghetti monster appeared in a swirl of marinara. With a voice as rich as a slow simmering ragu, he spoke. "Arr, me lad, the sea is like wisdom. Sometimes it carries ye to safe harbors. Other times it tosses ye into the briny depths. But through it all, it be your choice whether to sink or swim." And lo, Barnaby understood. Life, like piracy, is an adventure of understanding. We are but humble ships navigating the unknown, guided by the currents of curiosity, seeking both truth and grog in equal measure. Now, ye may ask, how should a pirate ship be governed? For a ship is not just a vessel, but a floating society, a microcosm of freedom, duty, and, occasionally, sea shanties at inappropriate hours. The wisdom of John Locke. John Locke, had he been a pirate, and who's to say he wasn't, might have looked at a pirate crew and declared, "All men be born free, but to sail together we must agree to certain rules, lest chaos send us all to Davy Jones' locker. Aye, a pirate ship be not run by tyranny, but by the will of its crew, a true social contract. Every buccaneer who joins the crew agrees to the pirate code, a set of laws meant to keep order, resolve disputes, and ensure that no single scallywag hoards all the booty. For what be the point of plundering if only the captain feasts while the crew starves? The pirate code embodies Locke's belief that governance should exist only by the consent of the governed. Should a captain become cruel or mad with power, the crew may mutiny, proving that even in the salty depths of anarchy, the principle of justice prevails. Let it be known, the best ships sail not under the iron fist of a tyrant, but under the banner of shared purpose, mutual respect, and the equal shares of rum. But what of liberty? Should a pirate be free to do as they please, swinging from the rigging to throw crewmates overboard just for sport? Here we turn to John Stuart Mill, who argued that freedom is sacred, so long as it does not trample on another pirate's freedom. He might have said, "Ye be free to drink, sing, and gamble all ye like, but if ye start stabbing your mates in the name of fun, ye be in the wrong." Mill's great wisdom tells us that society thrives when individuals are free to live as they choose, so long as they do not bring harm to others. And so it is with a pirate ship, a crew that values both liberty and responsibility will be the strongest on the seas. Thus, the pirate philosophy is clear. Every pirate should be free to question the captain, propose better rules, and even challenge authority, but only if it be for the betterment of all. Every crewmate should have the right to a fair share, for hoarding leads to discord. And no pirate should be made to walk the plank simply for disagreeing, unless, of course, they try to replace the rum with herbal teas. Yes. Now, let us turn our gaze toward a great pirate of thought, David Hume, a scalawag who dared to question all things. Hume, like any good pirate, doubted the maps drawn by those who came before him. He warned us that what we call knowledge be not always solid ground, but rather shifting sand beneath our boots. He argued that all we know comes from experience, much like a pirate who learns the temperament of the sea by sailing there. He might have said, had he been a proper pirate, there be no absolute knowledge, only what our senses and reason tell us. If you sees the sun rise 1,000 times, you may believe it will rise again. But what if one day it doesn't? Hume tells us that causation itself be a slippery eel. We assume the cannon will fire when we light the fuse, but do we truly know it will? Or do we merely expect it because it always has before? And so we cannot trust a map without testing its waters. We should not eat without testing the sauce. Let this be a lesson to all pirates. Question what you see. Taste before you eat, and never accept stale bread when pasta is in the offing. Now, let us turn our spyglass towards free will, a topic much debated on the decks of many a ship. Daniel Dennett, a grand philosopher of our age, speaks of a kind of free will that is practical, like choosing whether to hoist the sails or drop anchor. He tells us that though we may not control every storm, we can always choose how to steer the ship. Aye, Pastafarian free will be much the same. The flying spaghetti monster has given us choices: penny or linguine, grog or rum, to plunder or to share. We may not escape the currents of fate, but we can still choose whether to season our journey with the spices of kindness and reason. Dennett reminds us that free will is not about being free from all forces. Nay, for we are bound to the tides of biology, circumstance, and the occasional mutiny. But like a pirate choosing the best course through a storm, we can still make decisions that shape our own destinies. So let us not be rigid like an uncooked noodle, but flexible like a perfectly al dente strand of spaghetti, embracing both the chaos and the freedom of the sea. So, me mate, as we celebrate Philosophical Day, let us raise a goblet of ale or a hearty bowl of pasta in honor of those who think deeply and question boldly. Let us embrace the grand mysteries, argue merrily, and always, always leave room for dessert. For we know that true enlightenment is not found in gold or power, but in the simple joy of sharing a meal, a laugh, and a good sea shanty with our fellow pirates. Ramen. And remember, stir the sauce. Aye, aye, and goodbye.